Yes, and then we had the next conference. I didn't know what to expect. The colleagues from Kazakhstan invited us in 2019 and said, let's host a conference in Kazakhstan. I said, what is Kazakhstan? I've never been in that area, but it's easy to go to from Dubai. I was able to combine it with a holiday with the kids. So I said, okay, fine, let's go and have a look at what Kazakhstan has to offer. And I think a lot of us did not expect what we got to see there. It was really, really impressive what these ladies have built up. And so thank you for hosting the conference. It was super cool for us to be there and again get so many new ideas on what's possible if we really want to do that. And because I really wanted to stay for skiing afterwards in Almaty, but I had a client that was very insisting on the date. They wanted to run a workshop the week after, and I was like, but I want to stay in Kazakhstan and go skiing. I don't want to run the workshop. And Sunny, who I had met at the first conference by chance, was going to do a holiday in Dubai the week after Kazakhstan. So I said, maybe you and your husband want to run the workshop and I can stay and ski? And they did that. So Sunny and her husband took my place and ran a workshop in Abu Dhabi for the client. And that worked really well. Sometimes you have to just trust and let go. And I could enjoy my skiing holidays, so that was cool. That's also just connections we made at the conference. And and then it kept going. I tried a lot of new stables, new places, continued meeting new people. Verena Risse, who used to live in Indonesia and run the horse dream concept there, she came to visit to Dubai and I met her, and things were going well. Every time I was traveling, I really tried to make an effort and meet the horse train people, because I said, okay, I'm near Berlin, let me go and meet Bianca and see where she keeps the horses. And since then I've really tried to do that, and I learn every time when I go to different places, different stables, meet different colleagues. That same summer, I will talk about it in a second, but I also took the opportunity that I was in Germany and did a workshop, or did a one-on-one session actually in horse guided empowerment with one of the students of Christina Marz, who's living in Germany. So I always used all my travels to learn more. That same winter, we also did a holiday at Louis and Sunny, because they have some holiday apartments in the ski area of Austria. So I said, hey, I know somebody, let me go and rent from them rather than going into a hotel, and that way I have more chances to meet and interact with people. And in November that year I had a very interesting workshop. Sarah Kraska is not from the Horse Dream workshop, Horse Dream community, but she found me through Gerhard's website because she had a request from a client to work in the UAE. She looked up who's there, contacted me and said, can we run this workshop together? And now Nestle is a big international company. They wanted to do this because they had done a very interesting workshop in Ecuador, and they said, we want to do the same in the UAE. So I said, okay, what did you do in Ecuador? We just stood in the field and talked, and it was the best workshop we ever had. And I said, yeah, but what exercises did you do? What obstacles did you have? What happened? What activities, so we can replicate them here? I don't remember, we just stood there in the field with the horses. And so I Googled who's in Ecuador, because I wanted to find out more how they were working in Ecuador and who's in Ecuador. And then I found Christina Marz, who is basically, she started her own method and works in a very, very free way with the horses. And at the same time, I had started going to a farm where the horses had been left untouched, basically. They were breeding mares that were just left in the paddocks. They were feeding them, but not much else. So we couldn't take a halter on them, we couldn't lead them, I couldn't do all the normal exercises that I used to do. It was a beautiful space, but I couldn't use the horses. And I got in touch with Christina and I told her about it, and she said, oh, that's so cool. I've always wanted to come to Dubai. Let me come to Dubai and we run a certification course. And up until now, all the collaborations I had were very easy because the people were outside of my zone. I was still the only one in the UAE. And of course, when somebody comes and asks, hey, I have a workshop in your country, can I come and use the facilities and work with you? Of course, why not? Very easy to do that. But I didn't have any competition, so to say. Yeah. in my space. And so when she said, let's run a certification course, my first instinct was to say no, because then I'm building my own competition. We're just a small city, and if I build my competition, that doesn't make sense. And but Christina, if she wants to do something, she can be very convincing. So she convinced me in the end and came early 2020 to Dubai. I think we had 8 people in the first course, and basically showed us a little bit how she works. And yeah. After that, it was actually cool. I realized afterwards that now I had people that I could have with me at the workshops that also knew what I'm talking about. And it wasn't just horse handlers or other people that I tried to explain a little bit, but then they would still, who said it yesterday, be quiet. The people would still answer too many questions and talk too much about the horses, and this is what the horses eat. And now suddenly I had people with me that understood what is supposed to happen in a workshop. And it was actually cool, and we had some really good workshops still in the beginning of February. And I had media coming and filming and interviewing, and it felt like, okay, now there's finally some movement, something is happening, I'm getting more clients, more interest, more media. But unfortunately this video shoot, they were supposed to come back 1 week later. That never happened, because we all know what happened next. It all crashed. And schools were closed, and all the offices were closed, and no chance that we can run any face-to-face group workshops with horses. So it was a very frustrating time, I'm sure for a lot of us the same. We didn't know what will come next. And the first thing, in the UAE, they pushed all our school holidays earlier because they were so unsure. They just said, okay, let's make the Easter holidays a bit earlier and close the schools. And because we were scared to travel to other countries, we started to use the opportunity and went far, far, far away from the cities. Let's get away from the people with the virus and go far into the desert. And I went to this one hotel, which is a very far drive away, but I've always wanted to go and see it. And it was just breathtaking. Like really, really, really big dunes, and there is just nothing. You drive for more than 1 hour, a straight road through the desert dunes, and then you come to this beautiful 5-star hotel, and they had this super cool paddock, and I asked them if I could take some pictures and explore, and I think this is really where the ideas of the retreats were born. Standing there in the desert and thinking, it would be cool to bring people here and try something different. So yeah, in the beginning I still used the time well, but then it was complete lockdown. We were stuck in the garden, we were not allowed to leave the house, we were not allowed to go out of the garden, we needed a permit to go to the supermarket. So the first weeks were just family time. And then as things started to slowly open up, I have to say, looking back, I am very grateful. I mean, yeah, same thing, we just stayed away from people, explored the desert, and just took a lot of time in nature. So looking back, I'm grateful because now my kids don't come with me so much to the horses anymore. And yeah, that summer we all stayed. We didn't go abroad as usual, so we started to explore slowly new ideas. There was still no chance to bring corporates back, and that at that time was my only focus group. But then together with the other new facilitators, and because everybody had different backgrounds, it was not just on the corporate side. So then we tried meditation with horses, and we tried and explored a bit what else can we offer now the corporate workshops are not running. Then, yeah, in September it was again Lou, who was very brave and was the first one to bring the team back with masks, and we spread out the chairs really, really far apart, but at least we were slowly able to run some work again. But this facility that I have been using all the time is based in Abu Dhabi, and I was living in Dubai, and many clients are in Dubai, and the two cities have very different ideas about how to handle COVID. So Abu Dhabi set up a very big border post. We needed a PCR test every time you wanted to travel to the neighbor city. It was like leaving the country and traveling to a new country. It was a big effort to go 1 hour to the other side. So before that, before COVID, I was easily always able to convince our clients to travel to Abu Dhabi. After COVID, and since today there is a block in people's mind, they don't want to go to Abu Dhabi. No. So I really had to find a stable in Dubai to work with. This client was based in Abu Dhabi, so it was okay, but I had to find a stable in Dubai, and up until that time I had tried many stables, I tried more stables, but but it's not always easy to find, because I don't have the horses and I don't have the stable, to find the right place where the owner understands what I'm doing, and the horses are happy and healthy, and maybe also have a little bit basic facilities for the corporates when they come. They also have some expectations. So it was always hard to find this. And that's again where COVID helped me. So in COVID, because I was really desperate to find a place, I started looking around more. What did I miss? There must be something. And then finally I found the right place, which is, they do riding, therapeutic riding, for special needs kids, so the classic hippotherapy kind of riding, and they were closed at the time, so no school children were coming anymore. There was nothing happening except the horses being out in the paddock. That was all that was happening, and so I said, can I come and work with your horses, because they look very happy? And they said, yeah, sure, why not? So that was my door in, and I'm still able to work in the same place. They reopened, but they kept a few days a week where we can go and run our workshops and our work. And it's not just the happy horses and the green paddocks and the beautiful spaces, it's also part of a bigger resort, and just 500 meters from this paddock, we have a 5-star hotel, which means I don't have to worry at all about having the right facilities for the corporates. I can order all the coffee breaks and lunch from the hotel, and I know that the clients will get super service. And I have the paddocks just on the side. So this has really been perfect for me, and I'm very happy that we have a good relationship with both of them. Yeah, it took me a while to get there, but I found it eventually. And also through COVID, so when Christina came, I said, I only want to get some new ideas for the corporate workshops. I'm not interested to go deep into personal topics. I'm not a therapist. This is not what I do. And she kept pushing, and she said, but if you want to finish the certification, you have to at least try one time to work one-on-one with a client. And when I did, I realized that it's actually really, really beautiful. And I think today I enjoy more the one-on-one coaching sessions, because it's very different from the corporate workshops. I still love all the corporate workshops, but when you really have that one-on-one time, and also all the horses are focused on that one client that comes with a problem, and you realize that you can help them and really make an impact, it's very rewarding. And again, because I wasn't able to bring big groups, it was difficult. I started to go more and more into this one-on-one sessions, and started to enjoy them more and more. And in the same year also, because the face-to-face certification was over, Christina took the course online, and now she's teaching her method online. She asked me to come in as a mentor for the students in the area, because she's in Ecuador, so she is quite far away. And so whenever people have questions, they can come and ask me. And sometimes I would practice with them. And we counted the other day. So at the moment we have 26 people just in our country who have started the course. Just by attending the course, you don't get certified. So there are certain criteria. You have to practice and submit homework and do a final theory test and video test and practice. But still, 12 people are certified. And just one of them is based in Abu Dhabi. Everybody else is based in Dubai. And like I said in the beginning, that was for me unthinkable. No, we're a small population, a small city, and suddenly I have all this competition. But it's benefited me so much to have colleagues that I can call and ask for questions, and we still don't meet enough. We need to meet more often and really exchange, but still, I know everybody, I have a good relationship with everybody, and the more of us that talk about the work, and put it out there on Instagram, there is still enough clients for everybody, because each facilitator will attract different kinds of clients, and the clients will just naturally be drawn to this or that facilitator. We're still not all the same. Even though we're offering the same service, we are not the same. And everybody has a little bit of a different style, maybe a different place, and we've never really had any issues so far. And of course, for all the group workshops, it's much better to be at least 2 facilitators. And I started offering concepts that I couldn't offer alone. I'm not a yoga instructor, but we had Enrica, who was a yoga instructor. And so we did a day treat and spent the whole day at the stable with a mix of yoga and horse coaching. And so it also means that I can now offer a lot more things than what I was able to do before. Natasha was very interesting. Natasha was a coach, a life coach, and somebody said, you should meet, I think you might get along. She's also German. We had a coffee, and Natasha, being a really good coach, asked me all the questions. What are your dreams? And I started talking about the retreats and all the cool locations that I had found. And she said, well, what's stopping you from doing it? I don't know. I just didn't offer it yet. And she said, come on, let's do the first one together. I'll do it with you. And so that gave me a little push, and we did our first retreat in a very cool hotel. And again, she did the yoga part and I did the horse part, but she was so blown away by when she saw the interactions between the horses and the clients. She said, wow, for me as a coach, I have never seen this. I want to learn more. And then she said, okay, I think straight after she also started the certification and said, I want to add this also to my portfolio, because she had been riding horses when she was young. And so I still do a lot with her too. And more people came on board. With Maria, I also still do a lot of the retreats and a lot of the workshops. This client, who was one of our mask clients in those days with his team, he actually moved to Cyprus recently and asked me a couple of weeks ago if I would be able to go to Cyprus and run a workshop with his new company. So again, connections here. And of course, yeah, it is also super beneficial for the corporate clients when you have like 2 or 3 different viewpoints, and it's not just one facilitator noticing things, but if there's maybe 2 or 3. And I think that's also a big secret of how you guys work in Kazakhstan, because you have such a big team of people that know what you're doing. And because I was able to observe some of your workshops, it really makes it very, very effective and gives you a big relief when you know there's a team behind you. Yeah, with Maria, we did our first retreat outside of the UAE. So our problem is the summer is always very hot in the UAE. So we have to leave, and everybody wants to leave in the summer, which is a good opportunity to then take clients and go to other places where we have better weather and we can still work. We tried the first one in Menorca, because she is originally from Menorca. She knew a stable, she knew a hotel, and we did that there. And also because somebody was asking, so you don't get rich organizing retreats. The first one, we actually made a loss, but we learned a lot, and that's very valuable. And again, this is something I would never have done alone. I just did it because we were together and we were brainstorming ideas, and we dared to do it together, and we said, it doesn't matter what happens, let's just go for it. We had a conference then again in August, so because July, August, I'm usually in Germany. I went to also attend this one at Isabella's place in Germany, and from there then went to the next retreat to Georgia, and actually took Ellen with us. Ellen is also one of the Horse-Stream certified coaches. I was talking to her at the conference, and she said, wow, I've always wanted to do something like this. I will join you as a client, as a participant. And she came with us to the first retreat that we organized in Georgia. We've now since then been going 5 times already with clients, so we always take our clients and go for a week to Georgia, where the horses are pretty much free. They live without fences, and it's a wonderful time to really be away from civilization and just be in nature. And yeah, we did our first overnight retreat, so staying at the hotel in Abu Dhabi, again with Natasha. And just overall, yeah, started doing a lot more workshops, taking bigger groups because I had the confidence that there's more of us, and with all different people. Then more facilitators joined. We had, I think this was 2023, we had Kat and Shireen join as participants in our retreat in Georgia, and also Zina. So from this tour, we later got 3 people that were so blown away by the method that they all wanted to also become certified and work with the horses and incorporate this. Zina now has her own farm, and she's renting a farm and has her own horses and running workshops there. But not every coach that we collaborate wants to become certified, so there are also others that are okay to just enjoy the work. David is a coach who started horse riding. He was coaching Maria at the time, and he said, what is it that you do? And he came to the paddock to try and loved it. Like, he also really loved it. And since then, we've run a lot of workshops with him. He always says he does not want to become certified. He says, you do what you do best, and I do what I do best. And so now, similar to how Mao and Julio collaborate, now we collaborate a lot with him. He does the business part, and we do the horses. But it is a great addition for us and for the clients. That was also, yeah, a bigger group. I think that's, we had Shireen also with us then, already co-facilitating here. And yeah, with David, we also went to Muscat. He had a leadership retreat in Oman and said, let's try and find horses there and also run some programs there. So yeah, we also got to travel with him. I have another colleague. She's still working full-time, so she's not doing a lot of workshops, but she has a lot of contacts in Saudi Arabia. So one day we got together and we said, let's try and see if we can open up the market in Saudi Arabia. And we traveled there together, found a stable and organized the demo. Again, something I would have never done alone, but she knew some people, and it felt very easy to do that. Then we did the first retreat in Zanzibar, again with Natasha. Yeah, looking back, that's why I said I really enjoyed putting it all together, because actually we did a lot of cool things. And by now also we started earning money with the retreat, so it was also rewarding. 2023, Christina came back to Dubai one time and ran some workshops, and there's always new. At every workshop you meet people and new things happen, new collaborations. At one of her workshops, Virginia came. Virginia is the wife of Ian, who was one of the first PwC people I met. She actually has now, since 13 years, she has leukemia, and she stopped working full-time as an executive coach because of all the treatments that she needs. Leukemia. And so since a while now, she's coaching women with cancer, especially when they're freshly diagnosed and are in this panic mode. And so she comes in as a coach to tell them, it's okay, you can still continue living. I've been living with it since 13 years. She's a very strong woman. And then she started contacting, we got in touch, we started talking, and she said, can we maybe take some of these women to the horses? Because when they're sitting in the room, and they just talk and talk and talk about all the bad things that are happening to them, they're like in a negative spiral. She said, we need to get them out of there. And so together with her, for 1.5 years, we did a lot of cancer support groups, taking the women out of the room to the horses. Again, something I would have never dared to do alone, because I don't have much experience with that, and it is a big, big topic. So I would have never done it alone, but having her expertise and having her by my side, and she was always telling me, never say this, don't do this. Be careful, this is what we want to do. I learned a lot. It was a very beautiful time. We stopped because we couldn't keep using the stable for free anymore, and it was anyways for free, so let's see, maybe one day if we can find some sponsors to cover the costs, we can continue running it again. It would be nice, because I'm still in touch with a lot of these women. Yeah, this is also a story of anything is possible. You really just have to keep going. It's not always easy, and that's what I've also learned in this journey. it doesn't happen overnight, and things are not always easy. Some of you have maybe seen the pictures from these retreats that we do here in the red desert dunes. This area has now become a national park and is a very protected desert area, very beautiful. I think we also went there the first time in like 2021 because they opened a new stable next to the national park, and we said, oh, it's a beautiful location, beautiful desert, let's go and speak to them. But when we went there, it was just boxes and every horse in a box. And we said, do you sometimes put them together? No, we never put horses together. They all have to be separate, and they're just used for the riding of tourists. So we said, okay, then we cannot do anything here. And 2 years later, Maria said, I think we should go and speak to them again. Let's not just dismiss it, let's try again. And we went back really 2 years later, and he saw us and he said, ladies, you know what? After you left last time, I started experimenting with letting horses together. It works. They don't kill each other. And he said, now I always keep them out together during the night. And I said, oh, that's wonderful. So now we can come. And he had, at the time, he had a really big field where he would just leave them all out together. And I was like, okay, that's perfect. Because there was also a little restaurant connected. And then the year later, they built this glamping area, which is like super nice, tents in the desert with proper furniture, proper bathrooms, so camping, but luxurious camping. But the stable is 10 minutes drive, so the stable is not right there. And we said, this place is so, so beautiful. Do you think we can bring the horses next to the tents so that we can stay there and don't have to drive? And he said, I don't know, but we can try. And so the year after, we built a fence, or they built a fence, and then we just brought 3 horses in a trailer and put them in the paddock and said, let's see if they go crazy, if they're okay to be in a different place. And he had used the 3 older ones, and they loved it. They loved the break, they loved the soft sand. They all kept laying down and just really enjoying it. And also when we brought the clients, we had a lot of these scenes where they were so happy. So we did a few workshops or a few overnight retreats there, and we'll also do it again this winter. And this is really something that we created because we were standing there in the sand. There was no paddock, there was no horses, and we said, let's try it. And again, it was 2 of us brainstorming and helping each other, and then also having the horse owner who believed in us and had seen us in action. So he said, okay, let's just try something new. And this story is important because it doesn't happen overnight. And also to change people's perception, we have to keep going and keep trying. We are always, I don't know, I'm always a bit impatient that people, like when I came first back from the first certification, and the others didn't understand what I'm doing. And a lot of people until this day still don't understand what I do. But it takes patience and it takes time, and all of us, we have to keep going. And eventually we will change people's minds, and then they will try it, and they will come to a demo, and they will come, and then they will tell others about it. It just takes time, and we have to really be persistent. But things are possible, and things do change. So that's what I've experienced. Yeah, I continue to visit a lot of colleagues whenever I can. Last summer I was traveling through France, Switzerland. Switzerland, unfortunately, I only have an empty chair from Urs and this beautiful space. Yeah, visiting colleagues that are not here today, but again, seeing where they work and how they work was very interesting. And then Sunny also asked me actually this summer if I could house sit and look after her animals while she was traveling to Canada. So I spent some really magical time in her forest where she keeps the horses during the summer. Shall I open the video?
Yes.